I was down in Savannah eating cream and bananas when the heat just made me faint.
That problem is not worth their while. So when you contact that same person overseas, say, I know you're buying bread, I know you're interested in product, is there anything I can do that'll satisfy a need that's not being met right now? Okay? So the Japanese say, why yes, we need sourdough from San Francisco. They're going to do that. We need olive bread. We need something that is not being produced by our regular supplier, the one we had the last year. We'll give you this smaller order to do. That's your way in. That's one way in. Do you follow that? So if your thing is bread, you got a passion for bread, that's one way in. Look at year-old United States Department of Commerce trade inquiries from around the world. Follow that? Okay. The next way in is, if you see the Japanese, you got a list from the Directory of U.S. Exporters, a list of the top 10 importers of bread in Japan or whatever country. You contact those top 10. Just write them a letter saying, I have these bread resources. I'm willing to design to your specification. If there's anything you need, please let me know. And by the way, we've developed something new, bread with seaweed in it. You ought to try it. Can I send you some samples? Because that is something you developed. Say, well, you get that to them. That's another way in. Probably won't get anywhere with that. Okay? Probably won't work. But you'll have people you're talking to, all right, in Japan. So you have some names. So what you're doing over here in the United States is you're going to bakeries that will not export because it's not worth their while, and you say, I've got contact with some people in Japan. It's only contact, it's not orders. I have contact with people in Japan, and they are looking for this. Is this something you can do? And the factory say, well, we're not interested in exporting to Japan. Well, I will buy it from you, and I'll ship it to Japan. So don't worry about that. I'll take all the risk, I'll take the responsibility, and it's a domestic sale to you, so don't worry about that. But can you do that kind of thing? You have those discussions. During that discussion, you say to that factory, the bakery, whoever else in the United States, just as one of the points you're discussing when you're having these conversations, say, do you ever get inquiries from overseas? The answer is almost always yes. We get inquiries from overseas. What do you do with those inquiries from overseas? We throw them away. One time I was consulting with somebody who says that the new guy, I said to the person I was consulting with, who's new to the job, who was looking for sales leads and export, and I said, your previous manager, ask him if he ever got trade inquiries for the products that you sell. So he called up and he says, yes, we got them all the time. Where does he put them? Put them in a file. The guy went to the file, opened it up, and there was 300 inquiries from around the world. He had a list of potential customers sitting in the bottom drawer. Too late, they already hired me. But it wouldn't have gotten to that if they'd not gone through the questions I asked. Do that exact same thing. When you're talking, say, bread to a bakery in the United States, do you get inquiries from overseas? Yes. Do you satisfy those? No, we don't want to export because we're mid-sized. Might I take those inquiries from overseas? Might I take those and see if I can find supply for those? You're already in the business, you got the names of the Japanese, you got to have a little bit of reputation, but the fact that you're already talking to the Japanese gives you some of that. That's the best place to look for trade leads from suppliers overseas, is the companies, the mid-sized and small in America that have not replied to, have not acted on the inquiries from overseas. It's really easy to find American bakeries, find American manufacturers, American anything. It's really easy to contact them. So often that these contacts come in and the Americans don't reply because it's too smart for them to do so. They don't want to open up an export department. They don't want to take the risk of selling overseas. They don't want to worry about packaging and shipping and all that kind of stuff. They're domestic. They work domestic. So they turn down business. They ignore business. If they habitually throw away their trade leads, then ask them if they'll keep them for you and send them your way. So you got all these resources, all these people feeding you these inquiries, and then you work them as they come in because you love bread. You got a passion for bread. Okay? Questions on that? Concerns? Issues? It's a really simple process when you do have an order from overseas to put together the price quote, to go to what would be a customs broker brings the products in, a freight forwarder ships them out. A freight forwarder will tell you all your costs, everything you need to know, all permits, anything else to get it out of the United States, handle all the paperwork, make that happen. Okay? So that part is easy too, using with a freight forwarder. So the exporting as a small business is really a matter of becoming an agent which acts as a domestic sale for the manufacturers, factories, bakeries, growers, anything you want in the United States. It's a domestic sale for them, but for you it's an international sale. These people otherwise would not get access to these factories. Now, again, international trade, small business level is about competing on design. The factory may not redesign for you. This is where the original equipment manufacturer comes in. You have them make for you the components, what is essentially the suppliers overseas are making. You buy those from them. You assemble here in the United States into finished products in your own operations or a third-party operation, or even work out a deal where the components are shipped to the importer over there that finally assembles them over there into the finished product. Anything and everything. You're in position to do anything and everything. Okay, but again, it all starts with that passion. You got to have the passion to get the ball rolling, to get people to work with you. They got to trust you. Because you're going to do this the rest of your life. That is doing exporting at the small business level. I was talking to a customs broker freight forwarder not too long ago that said exports are jumping. They're jumping in these categories right now in the United States in July of 2008. And it is, as you say, scrap, used cars, used equipment, all that kind of stuff. It's going to move on up the chain, but that's where it is right now, yes?
Yeah, there's a lot of scrap, like a metal scrap.
Yeah, it's all
Like
getting recycled.
sometimes chair breaks down, this scrap, it goes
Right.
back to another countries.
But those are huge businesses, again, using volume. If you want to make money in the business, you're not going to do it in scrap, because I also hear stories of people who jumped in on the business and have lost their shirt. No, you're going to have a specialty in an area you love, especially agriculture. I mean, I did some consulting with one company that was just wonderful. What they do is they propagate seeds. So you've got some Thai farmers that are growing daikon radish, and they need the seeds. So they do some growing of the daikon radish for themselves, but they need to propagate. They cannot devote arable land to propagating seeds. Okay, so what they do is they ship it to Quincy, Washington, where they got these fantastic fields. This goes on in California, many places in the United States, where they import the seed they want propagated. They plant it, they let the vegetables go to seed, they harvest the seed, they clean it, turn what was 10 kilos of seed into 1,000 kilos of seed, and then ship it back to Thailand, where it's then planted to grow the what they're looking for. Okay? The daikon radish or whatever else it is. So that business, that's really complex with import and export all being one transaction. Okay. So any questions on this? Little spiel on exporting as a small business. Importers here in the United States inevitably turn into exporters because your suppliers overseas start asking you for some American-made product. So you end up working on this basis as an agent. Okay? Whether what you're probably going to do is take the factory price, then add your markup, commission, whatever it is, then that's the price that they pay you. So you're going to, in essence, take title to the goods, you're going to own the goods, you're going to buy the goods, you're going to add on your price, then you're going to export it to them. They pay you, you've already paid them. That's generally how it works. So,
As the relatives gather to see what's the matter, the doctor came to see was I dying. But the doctor said, give him jug band music, it seems to make him feel just fine. I was told a little tale about as skinny as a rail 8 foot